earlier we saw that the videos did not work. We had some problems. Basically, this is a video at the Rocket Invention Circle, CBO. We're working on solutions. For example, a manually operated washing machine. We developed several prototypes. Those prototypes, the purpose of them is to basically reduce the amount of time and effort and work that an average homemaker might make in simply doing the job of washing clothes by hand. I've looked at it, and it's taken 3 to 4 hours for one person to wash a week's worth of clothing. What happens when they have the additional time gained by using the same physical energy and a device which will drop that washing time from 4 hours down to 30 minutes? What could they do with that extra time and the effort saved? This is another video. Sorry it doesn't work. I'll try to make this presentation available online for download in case any of you are interested in seeing. We've developed a solar dehydrator that basically preserves food using widely available solar energy. Solar energy for us is free. No electricity, no gasoline, no firewood. When you dry that food, you're able to add value addition to it. You're able to get the food security released because you don't have crop wastage. You're able to get full nutritional value. You're able to have some of those same foods available throughout the year. We've done testing on different fruits, bananas, skumawiki, ginger, garlic, things that are valuable seasonally, and even more valuable if you were able to dry it and then sell it. Statement. Innovation happens when ideas move from research to enterprise, creating solutions that generate both economic and social value. Virtually every human being is able, endeavor can be touched by innovation. Innovation. Is it just for scientists and engineers? No. Negotiators, toxologists, entrepreneurs, environmentalists, robotics people, managers, writers, chefs, surgeons, biologists, engineers, illustrators, dancers, architects. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Every human endeavor can benefit from the value of very well created innovations, inventions, and the ability to solve problems. Now, when you have that, when you have built the infrastructure, created an infrastructure, where now the people, average people, are able to gain the mindset, the skills, and the understanding to be able to use modern methods of being able to generate ideas, of being able to refine those ideas, including the use of artificial intelligence. That means more people will be able to come up with more solutions, which will be able to come up with solving more problems, which will be able to benefit communities even more, because now people aren't crying, oh, we can't do it. Hey, oh, she got a problem with it. He's got a solution to that. He's got a wonderful idea. We can make business. I can get a job. Even though I'm not an inventor or an innovator, somebody who is, who might not have had the money 20 years ago to do it, can do it now at even lower cost and offer me a job. That's going to raise the economic well-being of the entire community. So there's extreme value to the people of Africa, to the people of Kenya, to the people even of Metamanti, to be able to have people who have become experts at solving problems, of coming up with innovative ideas and solutions to make life better for us and our communities. So, a statement. At the Rocket Invention Academy, we encourage students to think beyond prototypes and develop scalable business solutions. Community impact, how it affects our community, that's at the heart of what we want these people to do. This is a community gathering. Somebody's leading discussion who may have very well been trained on how to lead discussions, help communities come up and solve problems, not because they're naturally gifted, but because they went through a curriculum and the discipline to be able to use the most modern methods of being able to come up with those kinds of solutions. Local innovation for global impact. Yes, we can come up with solutions here in Nairobi, in Kisumu. It says, we've been able to solve our problems. Now, those solutions can travel. They can go to other farthest corners of the earth. Ideas today can travel at the speed of light to any other part of the world where people may be searching for something like that. YouTube is not, one of YouTube's, the video platform, what it's most valuable for is as a research vehicle, an information vehicle. Not just for watching videos and entertainment, but people go there and do research on YouTube even more than they do it on Google. Something to think about. Here in this case, an innovation has come about where there are ground sensors and drones can go around and fly and sense what needs to be watered, which area needs more nutrition, which area needs to be shaded, which area is now ready for production. Collaborating and scaling innovations. Here, this is an imaginary scene where a group of people, villagers, are looking at a presentation on how their community is going to be transformed given the introduction of new solutions to some of the problems that that community is facing.
Kindly summarize.
Yes. Okay. Almost finished. Okay. This is just discussion. Okay. Conclusion. Call to action. Understanding these things, understanding these possibilities, what can we do? We must rethink research, foster an entrepreneurial spirit, and ensure our innovations serve the greater good. We aren't just inventing in isolation or in a vacuum. We're inventing and innovating to improve the lives of ourselves and our communities around us. Questions? 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 Okay. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor, for the good presentation. We have two more presentations from our students. The guidance you're giving here, each of you is to take 5 minutes. And we're not expecting you to make a visual presentation to us. So just brief us what is in your document. That's the guidance you have been given so that you can adequately use your 5 minutes. I now wish to invite the second person. The second presentation is coming from Nyongesa Godfrey. Welcome. The next person will be Monica, so you'll be ready. PhD students 7 minutes, master students 5 minutes.
We can have their document loaded, but they are not due to the master. In order to, they should load their document.
Anyway, I use this one.
We need to able to access.
So as we wait for the presentation, do we have Miriam Modoni here with us?
Okay, good afternoon. Okay, I'm going to make a presentation on the advancement of trade unions in Kenya. And the question you're asking is the prevailing environment conducive for trade unions to operate in Kenya? My name is Godfrey Nyongesa, and I've co-authored this paper with Doris Mbogwa and also Rose Boyd. Now, to start with, I've started by defining what a trade union is, and basically, the objective of the union is to represent employees and to also present the interests of employers within a working organization. Now, basically, unions are there to look at the general welfare and the industrial harmony at the workplace. So, let us look also at how the trade union movement has operated in Kenya and how it participated in the struggle for independence. From the onset, the unions were there basically to fight for the rights of the workers. And also, they were there to fight for any other interest that served them right. Now, you realize that in the pre-independence period, the unions were very vocal and they participated greatly towards the achievement of independence in this country, as well as fighting for the rights of the workers. The union movement began in Kenya around 1919. And between that time up to 1950s, they really agitated the freedom for workers, and also they participated in agitation for matters regarding taxation, okay, as well as they even fought for things like removal of taxation for those people who are unable to fend for themselves. Now, going to post-independence period, and that was between 1963 and the year 2010, you find that the first government which was there in 1963, you remember they merged the two independent parties, that was KANU and KADU. And actually the idea was try and remove, they tried to consolidate power. And by so doing, there was a challenge also for unions, because the question that was being asked at that particular time was, were unions to be seen to also supporting the nationalistic values, or they were just to continue fighting and agitating for workers' rights? So around 1965, there was an organization of the trade union movement in Kenya here. We had two labor unions. We had the Kenya Federation of Labor, and we also had the African Workers' Congress. Now, what the government did in 1965, it actually killed the two and formed KOTU. Now, KOTU was formed for the sole purpose of bringing all these unions together, and also the government wanted to control. So what they did elections for the officials at that particular time, and the law was changed so that we could have 3 people being elected as union leaders for KOTU. But the government had a hand, the final hand in picking whom it wanted. So you can see the control of unions in the country started well in advance, just immediately after independence. Going back also to, moving forward to the period after 2010 when we enacted the new constitution, you will realize that unionism was entrenched in the constitution. And basically it was placed under the Bill of Rights, that is in section 41 of the constitution. The government actually realized that there is need to have workers' freedoms entrenched in the constitution. But then, in as much as these freedoms have been entrenched in the constitution, you will still realize that there is a lot of high-handedness, especially when it comes to handling of the union matters. You will see mostly when they want to organize for things like strikes, there is heavy-handedness by the police, and sometimes even from the political leadership. This is something which started way back. There was a time when even the bodies that were apolitical, like Entrepreneurial Wanawake, okay, the universities and other organizations, they were supposed to toe the line. You know, they were like, if you are a union, for example, like KOTU, you still had to have a name, KANU, you know, KOTU for KANU, something like that. Entrepreneurial Wanawake for KANU. So the political leaders in the country have been trying to bring the unions to their direct control. Now, there have been challenges that have been posed to the union all along. Now, we have seen that from 1963 there was a direct interference, and the politics were personalized, as well as the development of the development societies were also personalized. This trend continued also under the second government from 1978 to 2022, and there was too much government in every union activity in the country. This tradition of direct and indirect intimidation has actually led to the development of sub-dissent to some of the members, so much so that when the government tries to suppress these unions, the workers have also tried to become militant and to have their voices heard. Also, another challenge has been in terms of, like when we got our independence around 1965, as I had said, there was too much government in every union, and then it was that when you want, for example, to go for strike, the minister had a final say on whether you should go on strike or not. And sometimes unions were even taken to court, the industrial court, and the courts were being directed by the government that day, and the court decision was final. So we have argued that the enactment of laws within a short time after independence by the leadership, that was a prerequisite and machination of the party system to dominate every other society.
1 minute.
Okay, then financially, the unions have been struggling. Like sometimes, remittances of finances to the unions has been a challenge, especially when there is underpricing. The government tries to stop any deductions to the unions. Legally, also, the unions have been muzzled. The laws are there, but then they have not been followed up by the government. So we conclude by saying that the recommendation which we made, we suggest that the constitution should be followed. Secondly, the amendment of the Labor Relations Act, which was done, there is something they call agency fee, that if you are enjoying the benefits of a union, and for example, you are not a member, you are supposed to pay some money, but getting that money from a member is very difficult because joining is voluntary. And then also, unions have to get other monies from other sources so that they can run their affairs. It becomes very difficult because to get that money, you have to get an approval from the minister, and the process is too tedious. So that one has decimated the capacities of unions to operate. So we recommend finally that the main players in the labor relations movement, this is the government as well as the employers, need to maintain their own lane so that they don't interfere with the smooth running of unions in this country. Thank you so much, and that's my presentation.
Thank you, Nyongesa, for the good work.
Maybe any comments? Yeah.
Any comments? Just a minute. Msinyang'anye mic.
Yes.
Because labor movements are international, they've been happening all over the world.
Yes.
Was there anything to be learned from labor movements in other countries on how not? Was there any information that the labor unions learned from other experiences to keep them from not being politicized? When the government steps in, especially, the government is going to be a political entity anyway. And if they don't like the unions, they'll do everything to slow them or squash them or destroy them. That's happening in the US right now.
Okay. Well, let me answer that before you ask yours.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, good afternoon.
What I would like to know, because now you've done a research, what do you expect will come out if the government will not be able to buy your ideas or not be able to implement this? Because we're in this country, we have seen what is happening. The way the union has been fighting for the workers and things like that, and then they end up being pushed and pulled. And what are you, and what are the results of your research, and how is it going to help our country to be precise?
Okay. Now, to answer the first question, okay, upon attainance of the independence, unions tried to link up with other foreign unions all over the world. But now the problem came to be that the government converted that to mean that they were working on behalf of the imperialists. So they were labeled imperialists, and some of these unions were actually broken down when they were divided. So it became very difficult for them to actually move. Now, coming to the second question, well, it's a bit challenging. We have always been saying that our own constitution is work in progress. So in as much as unions were entrenched, and unionism was entrenched in the constitution, but we still realize that those freedoms have been curtailed. Okay? So what we are saying is progressively, we are envisaging a situation where government will fully honor what it's supposed to do and allow the unions to operate just the way they should be operating so that they can safeguard the rights and the welfare of workers. Thank you.
Okay, let us rest that there. In fact, you should have one question at the end. But because you're the last person, 5 minutes, we are really late for lunch. Karibu Miriam.
presenting a research article on employee recognition and retention of academic staff in public universities. I'm Monica Wahubogwa, and I will start with a few definitions. That is, employee recognition. It refers to timely, informal, or formal acknowledgement of persons, conduct, efforts, or business results that promote the organization aim and value. Have retention, which refers to ability to keep or continue having something or members of an organization. The findings indicated that employee recognition had a positive and significant effect on retention, where the p-value was 0.05. Regularly recognizing achievements can boost morale and loyalty. Employee recognition plays a critical role in motivating academic staff, and motivated faculty members are more likely to engage in entrepreneurial research, which can lead to innovative solutions to socio-economic challenges. Retaining experienced and skilled academic staff ensures continuity in research and training, which can foster a culture of entrepreneurship within universities. This is crucial for developing knowledge and skills that empower local communities. Recognized academic staff often have better access to industrial networks and partnership, facilitating collaborations that can lead to impactful entrepreneurial projects. These collaborations can promote knowledge, transfer, and support entrepreneurial initiatives that benefit the region's economy. Effective recognition and retention strategies can be incorporated in university policies that promote an entrepreneurial culture, ultimately leading to changes that enhance socio-economic development. Focusing on the well-being of academic staff ensures sustainable practice in education and research, aligning with long-term socio-economic goals. In conclusion, the accomplishment of entrepreneurial research, training, and enterprise approaches, which promotes greater socio-economic empowerment, require the acknowledgement and retention of academic personnel. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I just want to thank the presenters of the day for the work well done. And in case you have issues or concerns, you shall raise them on the sideline. Meanwhile, we are taking lunch at the 4th floor. That's where we are going after this. Let us rise and pray for lunch. Tunaenda 5th floor. Let us pray. Heavenly Master, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, we want to thank you. Thank you, Lord, for the sessions you've just had. We are praying for food that you're about to partake. Bless it and cleanse it as you take it in Jesus' name. 5th floor.
have come up with investment in human cooperation in investment in human capital, also in investment in science and technology. All those are things that they have collaborated with so that they can boost investment in the region. Even though they have tried to do this, as they try to boost the investment in the region, most of these countries, they have increased the public debts, they have increased the borrowing so that they can invest. And as you can see, the investment has gone even beyond the threshold, which is 50%, according to their treaty. They came up with an agreement that the public debt should not go beyond 50% of GDP. Despite these efforts that they have put to boost the investment in the region has remained low, and also most of the government investment has not targeted the real sectors, which can boost the economy of our country. In fact, what they have done, majority of them, they have not invested in those sectors that can outweigh the effect of the heavy indebtedness. Most of the studies have been conducted on the same topic, and they have come up with mixed results. Some are finding positive effects, others negative, and others no effect. And most of the studies, as I looked at the literature review, I found that most studies were using time series data. But these studies are employing the panel data to come up with a better understanding of the effect of public debt on public investment in this region. The study also uses a very recent model which was proposed by Dizen 2020, and that method is very recent, and the majority of the studies, they didn't use that one. From the methodology point of view, the study employed debt overhang theory and utilized the descriptive panel research design using secondary data for the period 1980 to 2022. As I said, the study utilized the dynamic common correlated effect approach and a method to analyze the data. And I've said that a method is very recent because it has not been utilized in ERTEA-SEE. This is the equation that I estimated. It is the equation that I estimated, sorry, because it is not having the slideshow. You can see the public investment is depending on the public debt, but the other control variables that I drew from the literature and also from the theoretical model, where we found that public investment in the previous years, private investment, real per capita income, foreign aid, trade openness, fiscal balance, and also debt squared. It was also found to be one of the key ingredients that can be used to moderate the equation, the regression equation model, because without those control variables, the result would not have any economic meaning. The results from dynamic common correlated effect, these are the results. These are for the pooled data for the 5 countries combined, the ERTEA-SEE. And as you can see, public debt was not found to be significant. The coefficient was not significant, both in the short run and in the long run. The short run, both in the short run and in the long run for the pooled data. But for the control variables, you can see the variables in the long run were found to be effective in determining the public investment in the region. For the specific But for Rwanda, you can see, for Rwanda it had positive effect, implying that the debt, when it increased in Uganda, not Uganda but Rwanda, it had a positive effect. How do we go to this? Okay. In conclusion, this is, but the control variables, as you can see, the control variables, here I will be assisted here. I will remove upward. Okay, for the control variables, I can just say, for the control variables, they were all found to be significant, and they were having mixed effect results, because some were positive, others were negative, and the others didn't have any effect. In conclusion, the public debt, in conclusion, public debt had mixed effect. Had no relationship. There was no relationship between public debt and public investment in the whole region as a whole, the whole ERTEA-SEE as a whole. But it had effect in Kenya negatively, and in Burundi, Kenya and Burundi negatively, and in Rwanda it was positive. The policy implication of this is that it shows that the public debt in this region, it has not been used it has not been channeled to public investment. Some of them, maybe they are using it for recurrent expenditures, and for that reason, it is recommended for this region to increase the public investment using that funds that they get from borrowing, and they target the value created economic, creative economic and social projects, which can usually, in the long run, increase the productivity of a country, and therefore bring in the more income that can be used to service the debt and also for the country as a whole. This region can also reduce the public debt, because this is not an issue for one country, it's not just Kenya, it is for the whole region as a whole. Majority of the countries, they have surpassed that threshold of 50%, and therefore it is recommended for that these governments, they should develop revenue mobilization strategies that
The next person, Ruben Angachi. Ruben Angachi. Let's appreciate him as he comes. After Ruben, we shall be having Francis Kagodho, so akwe ready.
Good afternoon. I'm Chuka, and I'll be presenting on the theme of tourism, the contribution of motorcycle transport service utilization on urban destination accessibility. I'll continue as they set the slides. We find that motorcycle transport service utilization has been considered an informal means of transport, but generally is being converted into a public means without any legal regularization. So you find majority of the factors that favored motorcycle service transport is the incapability of the public transport network to accommodate the motor vehicles. The demand shifts, whereby most of the travelers are considering flexible, convenient, and reliable means. Also, the urban population within most of the African states do impact on the use of motorcycle transport use. You'll find that within the state of developing countries, motorcycle has been considered as a public means, of which is being used informally. And the case of my study area, which is Busia, we find that the historical perspective of motorcycle is quite known, from the cycle system to the motor wheel system. The topography also favors its use, plus the daily urban trips of the county. The results from my study showed that motorcycle transport service within the area of study was quite effective in ensuring that most of the urban destinations have been serviced. Why? You find that the cost of use, motorcycle is quite cheap, and then flexibility, it is quite reliable, and then it's also one of the most available means in the area. So you find, as you consider the theory of the graph theory, factoring in the concepts of Hamiltonian circuit, you find that motorcycle has an adequate access to the nodes, or what we call the attractions, and then it can use the most probable street networks, or what we call the vertices. And you find now the flexibility of the cycle itself enables it to have an adequate access, thus increasing the level of the touch point experiences, or what we call the points of offer. Then it has also the probability of ensuring further destinations are accessed, because when the means are cheap, you can travel more compared to when the means are quite expensive, right? So the cost enhances further accessibility. Then also interactiveness. The motorcycle enables individuals, either groups or people on a personal basis, to access various destinations. Then the research applied the retrospective approach, whereby I tried to focus on those people who have already used, or they had a previous encounter with the use of motorcycles in Kenya. Generally, the conclusions has it that motorcycle can be considered as an alternative approach or option within the dynamic concepts of tourism, which can be used to compensate or to offset the difficulties that are encountered in the motor vehicle sector for tourism use. Secondly, since tourism is shifting from international to domestic, during the low season, motorcycle can also be considered as an alternative, whereby it can be used to ferry tourists from one place to the other. Then, the social inclusion where the main thing focuses, we find that majority of individuals who are residing in a particular area cannot afford to pay for the cost of a van to take them to an attraction site. So for us to incorporate, since tourism is becoming more social, to incorporate the social being of the society, motorcycle can be considered as cheap and alternative means which guests can use to reach a destination. So we find from the results, although the contribution is not quite high, but you find at least it moderately or averagely contributes to the accessibility, distribution of the product, and then complementing the motor vehicle as the last mile connector to any given destination. That is the snapshot of my presentation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Back through here.
I think you are doing well. Thank you, Ruben, for a good presentation and keeping time. We are now welcoming Francis Kagodho. Brenda Chedkoril, you'll be the next.
Thank you so much. Because of time, I'll just go on. And my name is Francis, and my research work was on the effect of external debt on private investment in Kenya for the period covered between 1990 and 2022. So as we all know, external debt is very important in enabling the government to carry out its activities. And external debt can be both a good and an evil depending on how it has been utilized in the country. For instance, in Kenya, we all know that there has been a high external debt, but you can't really see that impact on the economy because of the misappropriation of public, the funds that have been obtained from external sources for the development of the economy. And so we are going to start by saying that external debt is basically the money that is borrowed from the external sources to be used by the government in actually funding its activities. And many countries, basically such as Kenya, require external debt so as to bridge the gap that actually is in the government expenditure budget. So even though in Kenya, the government has been obtaining the external debt over the years and it has been increasing over time, actually being noted to be at 36.4% of GDP in 2022, which is actually beyond its set threshold of 30% of GDP. That implies that we should have seen a proportionate level of increase in investment, of which has not been reflected in the economy of Kenya. So, regardless of the government's effort to actually boost the private investment through an increase in external debt, it has not achieved that over the years in its commitment to actually achieve the 2030 vision blueprint, which states that the private investment should be at 24% of GDP. Since in 2022, the government had only been able to achieve 9.2% of GDP, which means that we have a long way to go. So basically, after consulting literature, I realized that various scholars have come up with different results of the effect of public debt on private investment, though only little studies or few studies had done a little bit about external debt on private investment with still inconsistent results, because some came up with positive results and some researchers came up with negative results. The study used a causal research design, and this model called ARDL, or autoregressive distributed lag model, was actually used in this study so that it can capture the long run and short run effects of external debt on private investment in Kenya. So basically this is the empirical model that I used for the study, and these are the study results, where the first phase, the top part is for the long run variable coefficients, and the bottom part is for the short run variable coefficients. And as you can see, the coefficient of external debt was negative 0.0891, which was actually statistically significant, since 0.006 is less than 0.05, which implies that 1% increase in external debt led to a significant drop in the private investment by 0.0891%, and therefore that is a negative correlation or relationship rather. So the R squared in the model was 0.9890, which implied that 98.90% of the total changes in private investment in Kenya were explained within the model, and the probability of the actually imposed on the private production activities, that's going to actually cause a negative effect on investment in the country. Therefore, the conclusion is, for the government to actually continue encouraging private investment in Kenya, it should ensure that whatever is borrowed from the external sources to be used for investment in the country has been actually used in the projects for which it was meant, and also the government should look into other ways of actually repaying or servicing the debt that it has obtained, apart from increasing taxes, which actually causes a disincentive to the private investors. Thank you.
Thank you very much. He has done well. I was just checking time. Brenda.
Okay, I'm Brenda Chuka, and I'm presenting on the effect of fraud money on private investment in Kenya. And okay, I'll continue as they put it. Private investment in Kenya is a drive to the economic growth, and the government has been trying to push the private investment in Kenya in line with the Vision 2030. Okay, I was saying in line with the Vision 2030, the government has been trying to push the private investment, and it is projected that at this moment it would have attained 24% of a GDP. But looking at the current Okay. My study was supported by the two theories, private liberalization theory and financial intermediation theory. And
by Lucy Wanjiru.
Good afternoon. Kenneth Washira Mwaneki. I will be presenting on the influence of peer-to-peer accommodation sharing platforms on hotel competitiveness in star-rated hotels in Nairobi County. So the main objectives were to investigate the effect of cost of P2P accommodation sharing platforms on the competitiveness. The second one was to investigate the influence of social interaction of P2P accommodation on the competitiveness of star-rated hotels in Nairobi County. And thirdly was to investigate the effect of environmental commitment of P2P accommodation sharing platforms on star-rated hotels in Nairobi County. The results and the conclusion were that it showed that cost of P2P accommodation, the p-value was less than 0.05, which indicated that there was a significant relationship between the effect of cost of P2P and the competitiveness of star-rated hotels, leading to rejection of null hypothesis. On the second objectives, the p-value was also less than 0.05, leading to the rejection of the null hypothesis. And thirdly, that is the effect of environmental commitment on the competitiveness of star-rated hotels. The p-value was also less than 0.05, which indicated that there was a significant relationship. Thus, on conclusion, it was concluded that the managers of star-rated hotels need to pay more attention on the factors that are being brought by the emergency of P2P accommodation in order to enhance their competitiveness. Thank you. That is my presentation.
Good job. Thank you. So now the next presenter, that is Lucy Wanjiru.
Good afternoon. My name is Lucy Wanjiru. I'll be presenting on a topic on effectiveness of visitor management strategies on the sustainability of tourist attractions, a case study of Entrepreneurial Conservancy. Mainly, my topic I chose because of the issue of sustainability, which is a global trend, not only in tourism, but also in other areas. And my main issue is that sustainability, as much as it has been adopted, its potential has not yet been realized, because we find that in attraction areas such as Entrepreneurial Conservancy, the visitor numbers are increasing over time. Therefore, the efforts of sustainability are being distracted, especially as the visitor increases in these areas, their behaviors become hard to control. Therefore, there is need to attain or establish the management strategies. And since my topic is on testing their effectiveness, you find that they have been adopted, yes, but the question is, have their potential or their implementation achieved the help achieve the sustainability potential in the destination? But I found that in the course of my research, I found that, yes, as much as they have been adopted, issues such as human-wildlife conflicts still exist in the area, water shortages, showing that sustainability is not yet balanced in the area, and therefore the need to ensure that these management strategies are effective. Mainly, I focused on 4 objectives where I was testing the relationship between, whether there is a relationship between the physical management strategies and the sustainability in Entrepreneurial Conservancy. Next, on the
whether there was a relationship between regulatory management strategies and the sustainability of Olpajeta Conservancy. Then 3, whether there was a relationship between economic management strategies and the sustainability of Olpajeta Conservancy. And 4, whether there is a relationship between the interpretive management strategies and the sustainability of Olpajeta Conservancy. And I found that interpretive strategies, examples are like educational facilities, ensuring that there is an information center to educate tourists about the institution and what they are expected. They were significant at a p-value of 0.01, which was less than 0.05, and therefore they were found to be significant in the destination. On the physical management strategies, examples are adopting zoning, fencing, use of trails in the destination. I found that their p-value was also 0.001, which was less than 0.5, indicating that they were significant in ensuring sustainability in the destination. Then on economic management strategies, I found that the overall coefficient of p-value was 0.012, which was less than 0.05, indicating also that they were significant in the destination in ensuring sustainability in the attraction site. And finally, on the regulatory management strategies, these are examples such as implementing rules or prohibiting activities such as feeding wildlife. Their p-value was 0.250, which was greater than 0.05, indicating that they were insignificant, or their relevance towards ensuring sustainability was a bit low. And therefore, the study concluded that physical management strategies, interpretive and economic strategies were relevant and significant in ensuring sustainability in the destination, while regulatory management strategies or use of rules were not significant in the destination, or else, as much as they had been adopted or implemented in the destination, their potential towards achieving sustainability had not yet been attained. Therefore, the study recommended that such strategies, the regulatory strategies, should be evaluated, because it was found that the reason why their potential towards ensuring sustainability was not reached is because there is compliance issues. That is, as much as visitor visits places, they need their mentality is they are visiting to enjoy themselves, to have freedom, etc. So when you instill rules like they should not do this and this, they find it hard to comply. Therefore, the reason why they had not attained their potential towards attaining sustainability in the destination. That is my presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Lucy. Lucy. The next presenter is Margaret. Is that? And there is an announcement. All those who are presented and who are yet to present, please share your presentation to that email for purpose of filing.